13,000, and that was my first deal. I got 13,000 on my first deal. Yeah,
You got 13 grand on your first deal.
my first deal. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
How did that feel?
dude. It was like you could find a lot of situations that are very good deals. So also learned how the whole process goes of closing and title companies and all that stuff. So yeah, you're gonna have to work every day. I mean I'm doing this every single day. Consistency, just like working out, just like Muay Thai, just like jiu-jitsu. Like
The following is a conversation with Jackson Sullivan. He is a young entrepreneur down here in Tampa Bay who is making his way through the entrepreneurship world and through the real estate world. He is only 19 years old, but his outlook, his knowledge, and his maturity far exceed most people who are in his typical age group. Throughout this conversation that I had with him, I found myself not just being inspired, but actually learning a lot about real estate, a world that I have spent about 6 years in constant education on. And this just goes to show me that age is just a number. It is never too late, never too early to get started learning and developing and just making the world a better place for you, yourself, and for those around you. Now, my friends, I hope you guys enjoy listening to this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. All right? And with that said, this is a conversation with Jackson Sullivan.
Welcome, Jackson.
What's up, man?
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, cool. So the reason I brought you on is because you're a young cat, you're a young fella, and you're already crushing it in the wholesaling real estate game.
Yep.
And you're not even that deep into it, but you've already closed several deals this year alone.
Right.
And just your outlook on life. We had a brief conversation over at the gym, and it was just really great. And I figured I want to learn more about this kid and see what's going on, see what makes you tick.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm only 19, so and I just recently after I did one semester of college, and I left school, and after that first semester, and I went back home for about a month. And I knew I wanted to be a wholesaler because I had done a lot of research over the past year, after COVID. I kind of just been starting to do a lot of research about entrepreneurship because I wasn't really interested in college anymore, or just the idea of getting a job. I really wanted to do my own thing, kind of start my own company. I have other dreams and stuff like that, but wholesaling was really I really liked the idea of wholesaling because it was you didn't need any money. And you could be young and you can do it, and I just needed to figure out all the details of that, and that's what happened when I came down here and got with Eddie and figured it out. Yeah.
Eddie is
Eddie Sorales. So Eddie Sorales owns the Sorales Group. It's located in Tampa Heights. He's been here since 1997. He's had his building in Tampa Heights since 1997. He's he's an expert of real estate. I mean, I would like to see somebody who knows as much as him, and he's been through it. He was doing fix and flips back in the early 2000s. He was wholesaling back in 2005. He was killing it back then. He tells me stories all the time. And now, he's kind of transitioned into teaching and doing deals with his students. And, I did my first few deals with him, and it's been a blessing, I mean, a lot of people think that I heard one person when I told them that I did the deal with him, they were why didn't you do it just yourself? Why did you do it with him? And it's because he gave me so much knowledge and just the ability, and showed me how to really the process that I wouldn't do it any other way. Doing the deals with Eddie was perfect and exactly what I needed as a young kid trying to figure it out.
So it's kind of you were paying tuition fees to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to learn from him.
Right.
That's huge. That's valuable.
And no money out of my pocket. We were just doing deals together, and he kind of not held my hand. I did a lot of the work too, but he was right there with me through the deals, and showed me, what it is really to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to ask how you met him, but I want to shelf that question for later. I want to start at what you said all the way in the beginning is that you chose wholesaling or wholesaling. Yeah. The wholesale life chose me, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's So you said you researched into this for years, it seems, and you knew this was for you.
Right.
How did you know that this was for you? What was that thought process?
I don't even know how it was that wholesaling like there's something about real estate that interests me, like investing in real estate as well. Like that's my next focus, right? Obviously I've kind of starting to get my legs under me in wholesaling, and I'm starting to get good at this, but like the next step is I want to get into buying holds. I want to own real estate. I want to have renters paying me cash flow every single month. That's the next goal. So that interests me in real estate, owning property, because I see a lot of very wealthy people. They own property and they have renters paying them, that passive income. So that was the first thing that got me interested in real estate. Then once I started to dive deeper, I started to discover stuff on YouTube of like, well, how do you make money in real estate? And obviously you could be a realtor, but a really good one is wholesaling. You don't need a license, you don't need anything. All you do is you just lock up a property and then you sell it for more money. And obviously there's more to it than that. Obviously you have to find problems, and that's really what it is. I'm kind of like to think of myself as like a problem solver. Like I like to solve problems. That's just something I like to do. And with wholesaling, that's what you're doing. You're finding people that are distressed sellers, distressed property owners. You're going to them and you're saying, hey, I noticed you had this problem, are you interested in selling your property? I would be, I can give you a cash offer for your property and, take the problem off your hands, foreclosures, vacant houses, probate, right?
What's probate?
Probate. Okay, so this is like in my opinion, the best leads in all of wholesaling. Probate is when somebody passes away.
Oh.
What happens to the property?
If they have a good trust, it goes to their next in line.
Right, but a lot of people don't have trust. A lot of people don't have trust. The majority, I would say, don't have trust. And hopefully that changes over time, as hopefully we can start to educate people more that if you have a property and you're kind of getting up there in age, you should when I have properties, I'm going to put them all in trust. But probates are really good because you go and you find these houses where they're vacant, nobody, whatever, and it's owned by a dead person. It says estate of, James Smith, right? It says estate of James Smith. So you're like, oh, well, who's James Smith? Look on the internet, James Smith obituary. There you go. You see James Smith and you see, he had 2 kids. Okay, so now you got to go get with his 2 kids and say, hey, do you want this property? Like, it's entitled to you because it's entitled to the heirs. And you say, oh, well, I could, give you a cash offer and I could do the probate for you. Take care of it. I'll put $10,000 in your pocket and I'll do the probate for you. Little do they know that you might be, going flipping it for $100,000 more, right? Because people don't, it's like property that people just kind of forget and disregard. You can kind of try to find that through research and, capitalize on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and at that point they're like, oh, I didn't even know about this property, and I might not even want to maintain it or take care of it.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You're just taking it off of their hands.
Right.
Oh, that's really cool. So how come you went the wholesaling route and not the real estate agent route?
I'm still thinking about getting my license. I'm still thinking about it. I'm not sold. Because there are a little bit of more like limitations on what you can do as a realtor. Like if you're a realtor, you can't you have to disclose you're a realtor, and like it can kind of get hazy when like wholesaling versus realtor. Because if you're a realtor, you kind of have that conflict of interest. You kind of have that badge, like, oh, I have to sell their property for the best possible market value. But like, if you're a wholesaler, you're a businessman. You're looking at profits. You're trying to make the most of your profits. And if you come in and you give them that lowball offer, as a realtor, you can't really do that. You have to come in and say, I'll list your property for you and we'll put it on the market for the top dollar, and then you get paid a commission.
You have a fiduciary duty.
Right, exactly. So I'm still thinking about becoming a realtor, but I don't know. If things keep going the way they're going, I probably won't.
What do you mean the way things are going?
Well, I've got 2 deals closed under my belt. I got 1 more that's under contract. I got another one that we just picked up, and then I have another one that we're doing probate on, like I was talking about probate. So, things are moving good. I only started, the first day I got with Eddie was February 14th. I remember because it was a Monday, and I came in the office Monday because I came down here, drove my car down from Connecticut, brought all my stuff with me, and I was like, full send. I'm going in because I can tell a story about how I met Eddie. I met him through a kid named Jackson Schembecker. Have you ever heard of Jackson Schembecker?
I have not.
Okay, so Jackson is he's my age. He's a freshman or going into sophomore year of college. He made like millions from Bitcoin, and he invested in Bitcoin when he was like 14 or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're 19 right now, that was 5 years ago. That would have been 2017. Back then, Bitcoin peaked at 18K, and everyone lost their mind because they thought that was how it was going to go. And then it hit 60, which is when so anywhere from 45 to 60, he would have 4x'd his money. Easily.
I think he might have got in even earlier than that. I could be wrong. I don't know his whole story, but he owns real estate as a young kid. Him and his mom's like a mogul. Her name's Anita. She's a nice lady, great lady. She's like a mogul in Tampa. Owns hundreds of single family residences in Tampa. And she picked them all up in
Last name Goins?
Schembecker.
Okay, different person.
She picked them all up in the crash in 2008, 2009. Short sales, all because of Eddie.
Pennies on the dollar.
Because Eddie has these great real estate methods, right?
Yeah.
You know what short sales are?
Yes.
Okay, so back in 2008.
Let's explain it for viewers.
Sure, yeah. So a short sale is basically you owe $100,000 to a bank on a mortgage, and you say, "Hey bank, this house is not worth $100,000. We got to sell it for 20." And then the bank's like, 20? Get out of here. No, let's do an appraisal. Okay, appraisal comes back, fair market value says 30. You give 95, banks accept 95% of the short sale value, so whatever 95% of 30,000 is.
Yeah,
And
about 27.5.
So then you write up the contract for 27.5, you close on it, boom, house goes to the guy who's buying it at the short sale. So in 2008, when everything, housing market just collapsed, and all these people had mortgages for like 200, 300, 400,000 on properties that were now worth like
nothing,
50, 40, 30 grand, nothing, right? And in Tampa, it was big time, and Eddie could tell you all about it. So what happened was Eddie and Anita kind of teamed up because Eddie owned hundreds of properties leading up to that point, but then Eddie kind of lost his ass around that time because he owned and he had mortgages. Like he was tens of millions of dollars in properties, right, with mortgages. So
and banks were calling him, trying to do a run on him.
Exactly. So he was doing basically what he did is he worked with kind of teamed up with Anita, and they did short sales on all the properties all around Tampa. Just finding, like, he had bird doggers finding deals, and they were doing short sales, and they were just picking up properties left and right for 9, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 grand. Really no more than like 40 grand they were paying for properties. And they're picking up single family, duplexes, quads, all kinds of stuff, all in Tampa, right? And it's it's a pretty crazy story all in all, because now she's just starting to just unload and just selling them, every day she's selling like a new one.
Right now at the top of the market.
Right, exactly. So it's it's awesome. So Anita is Jackson's mom. I met Jackson at Tampa in my first semester, and as with that entrepreneurial mindset and spirit, I met him, started talking to him. I'm like, whoa, okay. Like, we started talking. He's like, yeah, you should come meet Eddie and meet my mom at the office. We could talk real estate, because he knew I was interested in real estate. Because at that time, I was trying to figure out, how do I wholesale? Like, I didn't even know how. I was like, how do I do this? You know what I mean? So I was like, how do I figure this out? So I got with Eddie, and I actually he does these like little seminar classes, and I went to one of his classes, and I was sold. And that was in beginning of January. And then after that, I was like, I'm all in. I went back up, got my stuff in Connecticut. 2 weeks later, I was down here full time.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty baller.
Yeah, it was full send, dude. It was like, I'm taking the risk. I'm going,
So you were just this young, hungry cat. I mean, you're still young, but just up to your nose and like just real estate information, just trying to digest all this information as you can, and you just needed someone to show you how to do it.
Yeah. And
Jackson brought Jackson.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Along and that's how you met Eddie.
Eddie, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. So all right. So.
Well, I could talk a little bit about like wholesaling, and like for people that are watching, like, how do you do it? They're probably like, all right, well, this guy's just talking about it. Like, what does he actually do? Okay. So first thing you could do is you pull lists of pre-foreclosures. That's where I would start.
Okay.
Pre-foreclosures all day long.
And where are you finding these lists?
You can just go on to hover.hillsclerk, It's literally the Hillsborough County, the county we're in right now, Hillsborough County. It's the court cases, and you can click on mortgage foreclosures, non-homestead, homestead, $250,000 or more. You can click a bunch of different selections, like it's a civil court case, and then you can search it up, and it'll pull just a list of all the foreclosures in Hillsborough County. Boom, all right there. You know what I mean? And people don't really know how to do that, and that's free. And I find all my leads for free. But there's also lead generation softwares, or softwares you can buy like PropStream, Batch Leads. I forget the other ones, but you can buy these lists, and it's like and then you just call them. You just call them. Hey, are you interested in selling? Hey, I saw you had a problem. Like there's also, I'm not always calling to see if they're interested in selling. There's other. You can get creative with this stuff, man. There's a lot of, there's a lot of.
What do you mean?
So
if you're not calling to see if they're looking to sell, what are you calling them for then?
Okay, so what you could do is so a pre-foreclosure where somebody lives in the property. Here's a little strategy that sometimes I like to tell people that they have, because people need to know all their options, right? One thing they can do is they can, so their credit's now screwed up. They're not gonna be able to get another mortgage, but if they find a family member or a friend, if they have equity in the house, say the house is worth $250, or its house is worth $350, and they owe $250. Okay, they can write up a dummy contract for $350 with their friend who then goes and gets a loan and buys the house. They pull out. They're now going to get cash in their pocket, and then they rent it back from their friend. And their friend doesn't have to bring any money to the table because the house is worth $350. So you're going to be able to get a loan for more than the $250 that's owed to the bank. So you're going to be able to pay off, and you're going to be able to walk away with cash in your pocket. And now the friend owns the house, and you pay rent to your friend. And then your friend you could put it in a trust so that your friend could then sell or finance it back to you. So now you're still technically, you could do a quitclaim deed, sell or finance. Your friend finances it back to you, and then you make monthly payments. But that's taking a lot of risk for the friend, because the friend is like, well, you're already not paying your mortgage. You're going to pay me.
There's a lot of trust that needs to be established here.
Right, but just letting people know that that's a possibility they have. Like a lot of wholesalers, like just straight, are you interested in selling? But like, hey, I want to talk to you about all the options you have.
Interesting.
And like that can open the door for them to be more interested in selling to you rather than the Filipino virtual assistant that is calling them 10 times a day. Hello, are you interested in selling your property? Like, and I'm telling you, every person that's on a pre-foreclosure list in Tampa is getting those calls 10 times a day.
And they probably hate it.
And they hate it. So when you call them, they're like, shut up and hang up, right? So that's why door knocking sometimes better. Sometimes, like I've gotten, out of my 5 deals, 3 of them were door knocks.
Oh, wow.
Because the calling in Tampa it's saturated. So people are changing their phone numbers. They're doing all kinds of stuff because they're so annoyed.
Yeah, that phone over there gets about 17 spam calls a day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So these wholesalers are just getting spammed. Or I'm sorry, the wholesalers hire the virtual assistants who then look at these leads that I'm talking about, like the foreclosure lists. They're just they just send these lists over to the virtual assistant, who then they have the skip tracing software. They just call all day long. So, but so what I'm telling people is that all you need to do is you can go down to your clerk of court in any county you're in this country and ask for a list of pre-foreclosures, and they will give it to you. Any county in the country, you ask for the pre-foreclosure list, they'll give it to you. Once you get that list, you'll see the names, you'll see the addresses. You go on a website called True People Search. It's pretty accurate with phone numbers. I'd say probably 60 to 70% of the time it's got the right phone number. You just look on that website, call, and that's a completely free way to try to start wholesaling. And obviously now, what do you do? Okay, so now they answer the phone, and they're like, "Are you interested in selling?" They say, "Yeah, I am interested in selling. What are you offering?" You say, no, you find out what they want. Well, how much? What are you looking for? Like, how much would you need to sell your property? You don't want to tell them a number. You want to see like what they tell you. They say, "Oh man, I just need 10 grand in my pocket." And so then you figure out how much they owe.
So 10 grand equals, all right, great. So this is what this house is worth. Just add 10 on top of that.
Well, you figure out how much they owe, add 10 grand on top of that, write up the contract for it.
Sorry.
They sign that, and then what if it's worth 100 grand more? Then you would have to do what's called a double closing. So, and then people are like, well, I don't have the funds to do a double closing. That's okay. There's this thing called transactional funding. Transactional funding is, these companies do it. All you have to do is look up transactional funding online. What they'll do is they'll send you the money for a day, You wire it in, and then when you have that buyer who's going to come and double close, and you're going to double close and sell it the same 10 minutes later for $60,000 more, you use that transactional funding, they get paid back, and they charge like a $1,000 fee, $2,000 fee.
Yeah, I mean, and you just close like how much money in your pocket, so you can pay that no problem.
Like, exactly, it's like 50,000 plus, exactly. So, you know, and I honestly think I've been thinking a lot.
I can tell.
That like that like I kind of want to get out of Tampa, because Tampa's so saturated with the wholesalers. Like, so many people are doing this here because
Tampa has a lot of distressed neighborhoods that are up and coming. So this is like, it was a golden goose probably 3 years ago. I don't know about now.
I wish I was. It's a little bit too. I'm a little bit too late to the party in Tampa. Tampa would have been like, if I was here 3 years ago. Ooh, baby, it would have been.
Yeah.
But now it's a little bit like saturated and with the wholesalers. So every time a pre-foreclosure pops up, they're getting hit with virtual assistant calls, nonstop. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited. That's why I'm now going up to Connecticut, and I'm looking, because in Connecticut it's there's like no wholesale. There's like, I know like one guy who does it. And I mean, it's like, and he's a fix and flipper. He's not a wholesaler. He's fixing up the properties, but he knows how to find them. Like, that's the key in this thing, is finding deals. That's what I'm doing all day, is I'm just looking and finding deals, and then I'm flipping them. But I could, if I wanted to, fix them up and then sell them retail with a realtor. Like, I could do that, and Eddie's a broker, so like I could list it with him. But I don't know. It's just, for right now, I'm just trying to get quick cash and just build up my capital, because I have other ventures that I kind of want to get into, and wholesaling is kind of just like the start for me, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what does a typical day look like for you then? Like, how many phone calls are you making? Like, how many door knocks are you doing?
I try to door knock like 3 times a week, usually 2.
Not 2 doors, 3 doors a week, but.
I'm saying 2 days.
Okay.
And I try to do like 5 to 10 on those, and I try to do it where like I'm like, I'm heading out to like Brandon or something, like I try to do it like, so I'm hitting it all in like a route where it's like good. It's like all in like, because there's an app called Zeo. Here's another one for people trying to door knock. It's Zeo. Put in 5, 10, 15, 20 addresses, and it'll route it for you, the fastest possible route. So for when you're like door knocking and stuff. Oh, another method I didn't even think of for wholesalers is driving for dollars.
Yeah.
So that's very well spoken, but all you got to do is just drive around up and down streets and look for vacant, abandoned, beat up houses, and then go on your property assessor or property appraiser website, and you just type in the address and it'll tell you who the owner is. Then you take the owner's name, put it in True People Search, or you could just take the address and put the address into True People Search, because you could do a reverse address lookup. So there's another way that you could try to find deals. But anyways, what was I saying?
Oh, typical day for you.
Typical day, yeah. So I do door knocking like once, twice a week, 3 times, whatever, depending. And I usually, what I do is I'm calling most of the time. So I'll call for like 2 days in a row. And my calling is like 1 o'clock to 6 p.m. usually. That's like when I'm like calling. And I'll usually just sit at my desk and kind of just call. And I usually like to work out in the mornings. So I wake up, go do a workout or whatever, go for a run or something, and then come back and do research and just try to figure out like what, and just add to my spreadsheet, because I'm just like constantly doing research and adding to a spreadsheet. Like I'm like really grinding. Like I should be scaling. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out right now, is like how to change it so that I'm doing less work and I'm just doing more just appointments. You know what I mean? And but right now what I'm doing is I'm waking up, working out, research like until about 10, 11 o'clock, eat some food, kind of chill out for a little bit, and then start calling. And then some days around like 4 o'clock, 3, 4 o'clock, I go and I door knock.
So why those specific times? Is there a reason for that?
I think people, from what I've noticed, answer the phone from 1 to 6. Like that's like usually, if you're gonna get somebody on the phone, it's gonna be around that time. Mornings, people don't answer the phone for the most part. It's weird.
I'm usually in morning meetings and trying to like figure things out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just from what I noticed, I mean, I have no science behind this. This is just personal experience, right? So, it's, I think 1 to 6 is like a good sweet spot time, and then door knocking for sure 4 to 6:30, 7 o'clock. When you start getting in like a little close to 7, it's like not. People don't like either.
No, don't bother me.
Yeah, don't bother me, right? So those are like the times that I'm working in, and I like getting up early and getting the day started early.
Gotcha. So I'm just listening to you talk right now. You just make wholesaling seem so easy, seem so simple.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, it's not. It's you're gonna have to work every day. I mean, I'm doing this every single day. Consistency. Just like working out, just like, Muay Thai, just like jiu-jitsu. Like, I only went to one class. If I went and rolled with anything, even a white belt, they'd probably tap me out in 5 minutes. It's like, I don't know anything. So it's like, you got to be consistent. You have to be just all day, every day. Just, if you really want to be successful in this, you have to, just like anything else, you got to really be consistent about it. And that goes for anything in life, man. You know what I mean? And I've been really consistent, and I've been a student of the game, just learning from, like, every day in the office, just asking Eddie questions, constantly asking questions, looking for knowledge, looking at, like, what's this? What does that mean? What's that mean? What's that mean? And that's how I've gotten to the point where I'm at now.
Gotcha. All right. So like, so your first deal. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how you found the lead, like the phone calls, conversations, why they sold. Like let's go into a little bit like more detail with that one.
Yeah. So my first deal.
Yep. All right. First deal.
First deal. So my first deal was it was great. It was like, basically what happened was I found a house that was a foreclosure through doing research. I found it online. It was a pre-foreclosure. And then through research, by talking about the website I called hover.hillsclerk. So here's another key that is kind of like I feel like most people aren't going to want to do this. I'm doing stuff that I feel like most people aren't going to want to do. And what this one is you go and you look through the foreclosure case file. I'm talking like the actual litigation, like the documents in the case file, because it'll tell you if the house is vacant or not. Because it'll say, they have to serve, they'll go and they'll try to serve the house, just because unknown tenant number 1. That's just an automatic. They have to go and serve the house. So they'll deem the house vacant or not, which I figured, I saw the service of the property, unknown tenant 1, non-service, vacant, unoccupied, right? Then you see, like, they have to also serve the mortgagee, right? The owner. They have to serve them. Then when I saw what they served them is they went to a nursing home, and then so they went to a nursing home to serve her, and then they gave the papers to the lady at the front desk or whatever. And then I was like, okay, so that's interesting. So what I did was, then I was like, okay, it's an old lady, and I was like, all right, so what do I do now? I gotta find a kid. I gotta find one of her kids or a family member, right? So what I did was I went to the house, and I went and knocked on the neighbor's door. And I asked the neighbor, I said, hey, did you know the family at all? And they said, yeah, she had a son. And I was like, oh, did you know his name? She goes, nah, I didn't know his name, but I know she had a son. I was like, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. That's all I needed to know.
These people just randomly volunteered their information, this information to you?
Oh, I knocked on the door and I was like, hey, I came by today because I was just wondering about the property next door. It's vacant. I was kind of interested in the property. I was just wondering if you knew the owner or knew if she had any family. And then they told me, like, oh yeah, I think she had a son. It's like, oh, okay, do you know his name? Do you know, like, where he lives or anything? And they're like, no, I don't know. And I was like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed. So I went.
Interesting.
I went back home, and I went on True People Search. And what I did was I kind of, on True People Search, it'll show you relatives. So I went down to Fina, and I don't know if I should.
I'm gonna bleep that out.
Okay, sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I went and found the lady, and then I found her son, and through True People Search, through the relatives, and I found her son, and then I went to her son's. I found her son, and then I put her son, found his address through True People Search. I put his name into Property Appraiser to make sure he actually lives there, and I saw his address, and I saw his homesteaded, so I knew he actually did live there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go knock on this guy's door. So I went and knocked on his door, and I was like, hey man, what were you? I was at Notice Your Mom's Property, kind of interested in it. I was like, what were your plans with the property? He's like, I don't know. We were just gonna let the bank have it. And I was like, oh wow. I was like, okay. Your ears kind of just like,
don't do that.
I was like, interesting. Well, I was like, I was kind of like looking at the property, and we're kind of interested in buying it. How much would your family need for you guys to be interested in selling it? He goes, He goes, I mean, hey, if you guys give me 20 grand, I mean, I have no problem selling the property. So I'm like, okay. So we go back, we look at the payoff. We ordered a payoff from the bank to figure out how much, how much we got to give them. we got him that 20 grand, and I was able to do an assignment fee, wholesale fee of like 13,000, and that was my first deal. I got 13,000 on my first deal. Yeah.
You got 13 grand on your first deal.
My first deal, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Dude, it was like, here's the craziest part about it. All right, so I get the check and I'm like, dude, wow. And then like 10 seconds later, I'm like, all right, gotta keep moving.
Next.
Gotta keep moving. Like it wasn't
Stay
even
hungry.
Yeah, it wasn't even like it's just money, right? But like, it's like, to me now, I look at like 10 grand as like, no, it's kind of like, I don't have that much money. I'm like, I can't act like that. But like, it's like pennies because I have such big dreams. I have dreams of one day being a billionaire. Like that's a dream. I want to be that. Like I want to get there. So, I just got to keep stacking and stacking and stacking, and figure out how to scale and grow. And yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So like, what are some things that you picked up from that first deal? Like, what are the things that you've learned?
That door knocking is you can't like set it aside. You can't not door knock. Like you have to, if you want to be successful, you either have to have people who are door knocking for you that you can tell to go door knock, or you do it yourself. And I think door knocking is very effective because I think in this day and age, people are getting hit with so many like calls and scam calls all the time that you sound like a scammer, even if you are legit. Even if you're a guy like me trying to really do this and be like helpful and like be a good guy, it's like you door knocking provides that face-to-face interaction that the phone call lacks. And it's like, I think that it is a very valuable tool that you can't neglect. That's something I did learn. I also learned pre-foreclosures are great leads, and that you can find a lot of situations that are very good deals, So also learned how the whole process goes of closing and title companies and all that stuff. So yeah.
Interesting. All right. So you said like there's ways to get leads for free just off of the county website.
Right.
Yet there's also like lead generation software.
Right.
Why would somebody pay for the lead generation software if all this information is free online?
Because they don't know.
Okay.
And they don't know how to do it.
There really isn't a strategic advantage then.
Yeah, no, I'm just doing it now because I just figured like save money, but honestly I should be buying these softwares. Like, but what I want to do is I want to create my own software.
Oh.
I want to create my own real estate software that can also analyze like what I can analyze. Like I wonder if I could teach a computer that. I mean, computers can do amazing things, so I think I might be able to. But I'm not a computer guy. I know you know definitely more about coding than I do. I don't know really anything about coding, but
it's actually not that difficult to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could actually recommend you like 2 books that'll teach you like the very basics of Python. And if you're developing an app, you're going to need some good JavaScript as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's actually not that difficult.
Yeah, so I kind of want to, like these guys, like, what's it called, like prop stream. Like, I want to build my own prop stream. You know what I mean? Because that's how you scale this business. It's like, Pace Morby, he's a really good real estate investor and wholesaler on YouTube that I've learned so much from, man. I like, if Pace ever sees this, man, shout out Pace Morby. Like, love that guy. Absolutely love it. I can't wait to, I want to meet him one day because he's amazing. He gives away so much knowledge for free, dude. And he's a genius, man. He has this quote where it's like REI is real estate investing, but he also calls it replace expense with income.
Ooh.
Yeah, right?
I like that.
Yeah. So rather than paying PropStream for leads, why not just build my own software that then I could sell myself? And maybe I package it with a course where I teach people, and try to just do coaching and mentoring, and I package the software with that, so you're also getting the great software and great coaching as well. So that's like kind of my long-term plans, but I want to get there soon. Like I really want to develop a software like soon. You know what I mean? And yeah.
So, I mean, you only just got into this just like less than a year ago, and you're already looking to scale, or are you looking to hit certain benchmarks before you scale?
No, I'm definitely looking to scale. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to see how can I get to as many distressed sellers as possible, right? I mean, and I can't do it alone. I mean, I could do it alone, and I could definitely make 6 figures, and make 6 figures every year, and do it on my own. But why do that when I could maybe grow it to where I can make it into like $1 million a year? and
Yeah.
then from there.
What's better system wise, 100% of your own effort or 10% of 100 people's effort?
Right.
One's gonna create way, and in doing so, you're gonna create those 100 people and turn them into millionaires.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got to get to a place where I have, like you guys have sales guys just constantly calling. Like I need that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And all over the country, even. It's just like, or just certain markets, like 5 to 10 markets that I feel are really like great markets, and then we can constantly just be shifting and evolving markets. Like once Tampa gets saturated, then we're here, and then we're here, and you know what I mean, and just like constantly having. And then when we have a company of like tons of people together, like-minded people together, that's kind of like what I dream of. Yeah.
So like even with Tampa's like exploding market, you still feel like Tampa's oversaturated?
Yeah, well, it's oversaturated with wholesalers because there's so many wholesalers here. It's crazy. I just know it because the reason why I know is because Eddie owns so much property and still owns a good amount of property. So he's constantly getting calls from these wholesalers. So that's how I kind of have like noticed like, well, Eddie with no distress, other than that the property looks a little bummy, like
Tampa.
Yeah, like other than if that's Eddie's only distress and they're calling him, then that means they're calling everybody in the city. So if anybody's interested in selling, it's already gone. So I've had to do the work of finding the hidden ones. You know what I mean? The ones where they're kind of like they aren't as easy to get to. You know what I mean? And that's what I've turned into deals. But if I can get to markets where it's like there's not a lot of other people doing this, then you'll pick up a lot more deals. So that's kind of where my head's at. You know what I mean?
So were your first couple of deals in Tampa then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, first two were for sure.
When you say Tampa, are you including like St. Petersburg, Pinellas County?
It was on right up in Wellswood.
Okay.
And then the other one was off of Sheldon Road. You know where that is?
Nah, I'm not sure what that was.
It's like kind of near Town and Country.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice area.
Yeah. So it was, but it was a mobile home. It was on a big lot though. Mobile home on a big lot.
Hold up, you could wholesale mobile homes?
Oh yeah, you can wholesale anything. You can wholesale land. Yeah.
Bro, you just rocked my mind. I never thought I did not know you could wholesale a mobile home.
If it's property owned by one person, you can wholesale it.
So was it the lot on the mobile lot or the actual mobile home?
No, they bought it with the mobile home, and I think they're fixing up the mobile home. I don't even know, dude. I don't know. I don't know what the guys who bought it are doing. I haven't checked on it, but I probably will check on it one day because it was my first deal.
Yeah.
So like just to see what they did.
You always remember your first deal of any sale. Yeah.
I'll remember my first few deals because they're very like they're like special to me. You know what I mean?
So you see the way the market is going right now with like all the rates and everything and everything changing and the government doing God knows what with the economy. Who knows? And gas prices.
Can't figure that out.
So is there anything that you can do to prepare on your end for like everything that everybody who's studying economics is preparing for, like this biggest crash that may or may not come, but a lot of us are betting that it's coming in the next few years?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it, man. I'm not a financial expert, but I feel like I'm very knowledgeable in real estate. And I know that with if the whole economy crashes, the real estate market will also take a hit as well. It's not going to continue to go up. Like that doesn't, it's not going to correlate. But if people are falling on hard times, it's good opportunities for wholesalers because pre-foreclosures. Man, I think pre-foreclosures is where it's at. Like that's where the majority of your focus should be as a wholesaler, in my opinion, is pre-foreclosures, right? It's right there. That's your bread and butter. You got to start there and you got to learn it. You got to know it in and out of it. So with people falling on hard times, that's great opportunities. So another thing too is if people are taking out mortgages in the height of the market and then their property value drops, they're going to be upside down. They're going to owe 200 and the house is worth 100. Well, what do? Here's what you do. You get the house in a method called subject to. Basically what it is that they deed the property over to you and you take over their mortgage. You call the bank up and you say, hey bank, what do we got to do to reinstate this loan? Bank says, $20,000. Come on, man, $10,000. But I'm going to start making payments. Come on, just please do that. You negotiate with the bank. They say, all right, fine, $10,000. $10,000, reinstate it. Okay, cool. So now you just picked up a property for $10,000, essentially. I mean, and you could also get creative with it and get a hard money loan on that $10,000 if you really don't want to use your own money. But
OPM.
Yeah, other people's money. Yep. So then say you're into it for whatever, $10,000, or you use that hard money loan, whatever. You just picked up this property because they signed the deed, and in the deed it says subject to the mortgage, right? Subject to the existing mortgage on the property. So now you take over a property that's upside down. So what do you do now? Put it on Airbnb.
Hey.
Airbnb is, it's really giving a great opportunity for people to, make way more than the mortgage, right? Because traditional rents are, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. But Airbnb, you're pulling in $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah, I'm doing $1,700 for half of my house right now.
Yeah.
Because I have a duplex where I rent out the other half, and
Yeah.
it covers my mortgage, and I love it.
Yeah, living for free.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all. I mean, that's the goal, Dude, I gotta go pee. Can I go pee real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So subject to.
Yes.
Because this one's like if people are really interested in real estate, they need to know this for when the market does, if the housing market does kind of take a hit.
It's gonna take a hit.
Definitely will. when you see houses in the hood in Tampa selling for like $250, it's like, what's going on here?
Dude, those same houses were like $50K in 2016.
Less. In some cases, less.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's really it's amazing. But yeah, so if you're upside down on the mortgage, right? So they owe 200. The house is worth 100 now, like the market value. So what you do is you say, hey man, let me take over your payments. It'll also help your credit, right? How do you convince the seller to do it? It'll help your credit because right now you're in a foreclosure, but when I reinstate the loan, you're not gonna have any judgments against you. They'll release the list pendants, and your credit will be good again. You'll be able to repair your credit. So that's one thing for the seller. Another thing is you can put some cash in their pocket. Whereas in other words, they would have no chance of putting any cash in their pocket. So you could that's definitely some incentives for the seller to do it. But why it's good for you is because then you figure out how much the payment is. You calculate that. You put some furniture in there. Put it on Airbnb, and now you have a rental property, and you basically got it for very cheap, and it's also not your credit. Your name's not on the loan. Your name's on the deed. You own the property. And then here's another thing. What you can do is, if there's this thing called a due on sale clause.
Yeah.
The due on sale clause, if they call that, which I think it's pretty rare that they do call it, because as long as their bank's getting their money, they're happy.
That's all that counts.
Yeah. So, but if they do call if it's like a small bank and they say they call the due on sale clause, what you do is you say, all right, fine, but what your principal amount here is, you're saying is 200, but the house is worth 100, so we're gonna have to do a short sale. So you do that short sale and you offer them 10 grand on the short sale, and then they say, no, we can't do 10 grand. So then the short sale is always gonna come below the market value. I think it's guaranteed because appraisals are always below what it actually sells in the open market. Yeah. So what you do is you do a short sale down to, let's say, 50 grand. And then you sell it to from one LLC to another LLC, and then that LLC will then hold on to it, because usually there's a hold on short sales about 90 days. You hold on to it for 90 days, and then in 90 days you sell it for 100 grand. So it's like there's so many ways where doing that short sale and then selling it for 50 grand more in 90 days. So you had a renter in there for a year, right? You got it subject to, and then when the bank calls for their money, no big deal, short sale. And then sell it on the open market with a realtor or something. So I love it. I love talking about this stuff because there's so many ways you can get creative. And Pace Morby, that's the guy I talked about. I recommend watching his content for people watching, and then just study his content, and then also just study foreclosures and understanding foreclosure law and understanding what goes into a foreclosure process. I think having that knowledge, and then obviously getting general knowledge in real estate, properties, values. That's how you can become dangerous in this business.
Yeah, gotcha. So, and that's how you're preparing for this potential. I don't know if it's even potential now. This is for this coming crash that we're
headed for.
Yeah. Barreling towards even.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't. Okay, so this is kind of where we're gonna go. We've been talking about real estate. We can go down to a different route here. Is kind of just life in general. Is like I'm totally disconnected from media. Like, I deleted all my social media when I first started in real estate because I was just wanted to be so focused on working and just grinding and building, getting myself to the place I want to be and become very successful. So I deleted all my social media. Obviously, I love podcasts. I there's so many people I love that are famous, and you know, social media influencers that are just, I think, are great people. But you know, I mean, I thought it was just a waste of time to have social media, and I still think it is. I think it's, and it also can make you very depressed too.
Dude, deleting social media, because I did the same thing, was like the greatest thing I ever did in my life, because it just liberated me from just seeing all this like fakeness that was going on. Like you see all these people, they're like, yeah, look at me, I'm so cool. But what you don't realize is, yeah, well, they just emptied their entire bank account to try to look cool for a 5-second post.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad. It shows you how you know, superficial people can be, and it's just like, I've never been like that. Like, I'm not really a materialistic person. I kind of just I really like people and interactions and stuff in real life. Like the social media stuff, it's
face to face.
It's the best. It doesn't get better than this. It doesn't get better than going to a baseball game or going and hanging out with your friends, or like, dude, if like my generation has just become so consumed by social media and they're just always on their phones. It's like, it's hard to like hang around kids my age sometimes, because they're so consumed by the phones and social media and stuff.
I mean, talking to you right now, I don't feel like I'm talking to like a 19-year-old kid. I feel like I'm talking to like a 35, 40-year-old person who's already like been through the grind and like hustled harder.
I know. I feel like I've always a little bit been wiser than my years. I appreciate you saying that, because that makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel like I'm heading on the right track. You know, I mean, I really, yeah. I mean, I really want to be successful. That's the biggest thing, is, you know, and just like by like 30, 35, just to be living on a beach somewhere, and you know, have businesses that are bringing me passive income, and I'm able to just do things that I'm passionate about. I guess that's everybody's goal, right? Mm-hmm. But you know, putting in the work now to get there, that's the key that, you know, people don't realize.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about positioning. Like your goal is to like, based on what you're telling me, is to by the time you're in your 30s, be in a better position to help other people if you possibly can. Because if you're 35 and you've got nothing in your bank account and you've got no income and you've got nothing going on, how can you possibly be of help to anybody if you can't even help yourself?
Right, and that's, you know, I mean, it's, and even those people, like, I want those people to find wholesaling, because those people, like, it's like, so many people as they get older, they feel like they're like, oh, I can't do that now, man, I'm old, I can't do this. And it's like, why not? Like, it's either day one or one day.
Yeah.
And it's a very common saying, but
I like that.
But it's like,
Never heard that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a common saying, like
day one or one day.
Day one or one day. Yeah, because I mean, seriously though, it's like you can either start now, or you can either keep being like, you know, keep putting it off. But even if you're 50, like, and you're broke, like, okay, let's do wholesaling. Research it. Go hard at it. What else do you have to do? Like, I feel like, you know, unless you have kids and stuff like that, that's where things get a little bit more complicated, right? But I mean, I don't know. I really do want to help people, because eventually I want to, you know, be able to grow a large platform on the internet. I mean, I obviously am not a proponent of like social media, but I feel like it is a tool. It's a very powerful tool to help and influence people. So I hope that one day I can get on back on these platforms and come up with a good system where people can, you know, watch my content, and I can help to teach and coach people to become wholesalers and doing deals or buy and holds and fix and flippers. And there's so many different things that you can do in this game.
Like the Dean Graziosis.
Well, who's that?
Oh, he was doing the wholesale game before it was popular, actually.
Really?
He's actually like Tony Robbins' like right hand man.
Oh, really?
I'm actually surprised you don't know him.
I gotta look him up. What is it?
Dean Graziosi.
Okay, I'll look him up. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So I mean, I was thinking about something too. Is another business that I haven't really told you about, that I haven't had anything come of yet.
I mean, this is our second interaction ever.
True. So it's called surplus funds. Did I explain this to you?
This is my first time hearing this.
Okay, cool. This is a good one. And this is like, no one knows about this. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 companies in all of Florida, who do it. And it's a very like virgin thing. And it's because of the market being so hot, it's become a real industry. And let me tell you why. So houses are being auctioned off every single day. Literally today, a house got auctioned off. I was looking on the website. It got auctioned off for like $330,000. Okay. Well, they only owed $212,000 to the bank.
So they overpaid.
Well, the auctioner. Well, there was an auction, so it was this guy paid 305,
Bid.
306, 307, whatever. So they bid all the way up to 330. They only owed 212 to the bank, the people who lost their house, essentially. So what happens to that other money? The 212 gets paid to the bank, right? So now there's like
What's that other 85K?
it's like 110. But what happens?
I don't.
It sits in a fund, a surplus fund, with the clerk of court, waiting for the former homeowner to make a claim for it.
And how does that former homeowner wait? So the former homeowner owes $200K on the house. Couldn't make payments. Someone else sold it.
It got auctioned off by the bank.
And someone paid 300 some K for it.
Right.
And that 115K difference
Yep.
goes to the person who couldn't make the payments?
Yeah, because it was their equity. It was their equity. They were the owner. If they didn't have any other liens, if there was no other liens, because then here's another thing. Yeah. So say an HOA. Say there was an HOA in the house and they put a $10,000 lien. The HOA gets to make a $10,000 claim for their lien. And then the guy that did the windows, his $5,000 lien, he makes a claim. Okay, so now we were at 110, so now we're at 95. And that's owed to the owner.
So what do? You just call these people, hey, by the way, I can get you $100,000 right now, and all I want is a 5% cut or whatever?
So in Florida, you can legally charge up to 12%.
So you're gonna collect a nice 12K just for getting this guy.
Just it was hard at first to figure it out. So it's not as easy as it seems. I worked with my mom.
There's a lot of legal things going on.
My mom's a lawyer. She wrote up the entire agreement. She helped me write up the entire agreement of the contract, where basically they assign all of their rights to the surplus to me. So, it's in the contract. It's written in the contract. I charge 12% fee, but they assign their rights. So now I'm the driver of the ship, and that basically then the funds get dispersed to the lawyer who represents my company, because the company can't represent themselves in court. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
So the lawyer who represents my company goes and they motion to claim for the surplus funds, as we're the direct assignee of the former homeowner. We get our 12%. The lawyer gets their lawyer fees, and then they disperse the rest of the money to the homeowner. And it's just like that.
And with Tampa, Miami's it's an exploding market where houses are just going through the roof right now, and
it's very lucrative, and I think it's going to be a hustle for the next year, 2, 3 years that I'm going to be going hard into. I'm actually thinking about. I really want to automate wholesaling, because wholesaling is something that you can automate. Like I've been putting so much time into wholesaling, and I've built so much knowledge. So I really just want to be like coaching in appointments and doing appointments. But then I want to be putting my energy into surplus, because surplus is like, dude, I don't know if I can say this on here. You can cut it out, right?
Up to you.
All right. Well, okay. Well,
if you could say it, and if you want it out, I'll leave it out.
Okay. So I'm going to the Friday and had his house auctioned off, and it was a dollar surplus. Yeah. And I have an appointment with him when he's going to sign the agreement. I'm going to get a copy of his driver's license, take it over, make a claim. And I'm also I think I might have to help him get access to his bank account again, so he can put the money in there. But I'll hold on to the funds until he's ready to get them, because I have the lawyer actually holds on to them. It's not me.
Yeah.
The lawyer holds on to them in the trust account. So
this is like another layer of wholesaling that I didn't even know was.
It's not really wholesaling.
It's not.
It's real estate though. It is real estate.
It's 100% real estate.
It's a real estate game that nobody knows about.
How did you hear about this?
I didn't. I actually found it on my own. I found it on my own through doing research, and I was looking, and I kept seeing like properties being auctioned off for more than what they're worth. And I asked Eddie, I was like, Eddie, what happens when the property gets auctioned off for more than what happens here? And he goes, oh, it's a surplus. And I was like, who gets the surplus? He goes, oh, like former homeowner, I'm pretty sure gets it. And I was like, let me deep dive into this thing. I read all the laws on it. Did all the internet research on it. I called a lawyer and pretended to be a surplus, like somebody who had a surplus.
Yeah.
Just so I could extract information, because lawyers blank holes because they just don't. If it's their industry, like this guy, he's a surplus lawyer. He's not going to tell me jack because I'm a competitor. So he's just like, so the first time I called, I was just like, hey man, asking information, didn't tell me anything. Next time I called, I pretended to be like I had a surplus, just to extract information from him. And that's
now he has something to gain.
And I took some notes, dude, and I was like, all right, man, I'll be in touch. and people don't understand, like, I'm not saying to do anything wrong or to do wrong by people, but get creative in how you figure out information, how you put pieces together, and how you get stuff done. I'm not saying do anything illegal. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is do stuff like that. Call lawyers up and pretend to be like somebody else to get information. Like
I've done stuff like that because I used to sell cars.
Yeah.
And when I was learning how to sell cars, just very green, I would just call up other dealerships like, hi, I'm looking to buy a car, and I would see what their process is like, and I would say like who kept me on the phone. Who was able to give me information? Who made me want to buy a car? I actually almost freaking bought a car from a guy. He was so good. Yeah. And I had to remind myself, dude, you're not buying a car. but that's important stuff because this is all part of doing homework on the road of business, on the road of life.
Yeah.
No, this is amazing.
But I haven't even gotten my first surplus yet. My first surplus, probably. I mean, I've just been, dude. That's why I haven't even been back at Tampa Muay Thai because I've just been. Dude, work. I really when I work out, I go for a run in the morning, or I'll go hit a quick lift at Crunch or something. Because like these days, dude, that's all I really feel like I have time for. Because my head's just in the computer, or it's on the phone, or it's trying to just And the surplus, it sounds like an amazing easy hustle. It's not.
I know nothing is ever.
It's
easy,
not,
especially if it's high hustle, high money.
Find these people. That's the hardest part. Is finding these people. It's like, where the heck are they?
How'd you find this person you're meeting on Friday?
Because I googled his name, and then it goes, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I put his name into hover.hillsclerk, like I told you about, and it pulls up all the case, like everything, the case, what happened with him. So, I met him. He was a nice guy. I mean, some people just get into bad situations, and I'm glad that I'm able to help him because after
he's a in his pocket that he didn't have before.
Exactly, and the other thing too is like the you have to, with surplus, after a year of the surplus sitting in the fund, it's up for the state to make a claim for it, and it goes to the children's board. So that's why me and him are working kind of urgently because,
he could lose it.
He could lose it, right? And so I don't want him to lose it, and we're gonna help him get it done. And I mean, he's my first surplus client, and we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for surplus because I think surplus, actually, for the first time, and this is why I'm like so urgent about it now, is because for the first time, obviously my YouTube algorithm just feeds me all wholesaling ads, right? It's all ads about wholesaling, all of them, because that's all I watch on YouTube. It's just real estate content, right? It's just all real estate content.
Are you in bigger pockets?
Yeah, I like them. They're good.
Sweet.
They're good.
All
yeah.
Right.
But for the first time, I saw an ad for surplus funds.
Oh.
And that, in my mind, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta get to work.
No, stay out of my gym. I don't want to see you in there.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's exactly it. So,
actually, I do want to see you in there.
No, I'm getting back in there for sure.
Yeah.
I just gotta figure out a good, schedule. I really want to get in.
Yeah.
Like the Muay Thai, like that interests me, but the jiu-jitsu, like jiu-jitsu seems so cool.
I'll come on through, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. That first class, I was lost. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. So if I were to like describe your real estate strategy, not just wholesaling, but just like real estate business, at the end of the day, it's just intelligently moving capital from a locked up place where there's like a distressed property or a surplus, and just getting it to the rightful owner.
Yeah,
that's all it sounds like you're doing.
Yeah, and it really just helping people.
Yeah,
I mean that's
because I feel like, I'm sure you're familiar with this. Wholesalers get a really bad rep.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like to go when I talk to people is like actually tell them all of their options. A lot of wholesalers, they just want to capitalize, and you also got to figure out what these people want. If the person tells you that they want 10 grand, but there's actually 100,000 on the table, I mean, they're the ones who said it, right? So like, I mean, that's kind of like how I feel about it. But wholesalers, I get why they would get a bad rep, because there's a lot of them who aren't doing things the right way. They're taking advantage of people, and they're kind of like stealing people's equity. I haven't stolen anybody's equity yet. Yet. But I like to, I think it's definitely important that you let people know of all their options and help people. I think that's just when you put out value into the world, money will follow. You know what I mean? Money chases value.
100%.
Money chases value. So create value and solve problems, and you're going to be very successful no matter what you do.
Gotcha. Are there any people who shouldn't do wholesaling or real estate?
People who need security, people who need a job, people who feel like they need that constant paycheck. You're not going to get that here. You're just something that Eddie said to me early on, and it stuck with me, is you're only as good as your next deal. You're only as good as your next deal. So, people that kind of want to just clock in, clock out, just put in the bare minimum, wholesaling is not for them. You know what I mean? And then, I can't relate to those people at all. So I don't really know how to even give them advice. I've encountered plenty of those people kind of when you grow up, obviously, as a kid, you see all kinds of different people. But yeah, I don't really know. I just want to help people that are aspiring entrepreneurs, because those people are definitely going to hear what I say, and they're going to take a liking to it, and try to learn more. So
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think it is that like separates like the people who succeed in this game versus the ones that don't? We kind of touched on it, but let's go a little deeper.
Well, I guess constantly figuring out how you can evolve and just constantly being better. That should be like one of your top thoughts. Obviously, your top thought should be closing deals, getting deals and closing deals, right? That should be what your main focus is. But then your second main focus should be, all right, now how do we grow? How do we get bigger? And how do I pull myself farther and farther and farther out of the business, right? Where it's I'm just closing appointments, and then eventually, maybe I'm just making a royalty off of everything, and other people are closing. That's the
end game.
That's the end game, right? And I know companies that do that, right? Like I know of wholesaling companies they're actual wholesaling brokerages.
Yeah.
That do that, and I'm like,
that's wild.
That's where I want to be. You know what I mean? I want to be one of those. There's a company in Tampa called New Western. I have a lot of admiration for the company they are. They don't necessarily do things the right way, but I have admiration for what they built. You know what I mean? And you kind of have to copy success, but you can put your own little twist on it. So what makes people unsuccessful in this business is not being consistent, for sure. Not consistently, putting in the work, and then giving up. I would say, I've had doors slammed in my face. I've had people tell me to get off my property. I've seen a gun on a guy door knocking.
Door knocking is the hardest form of sales.
It is, and I recommend it to all people, because it'll make you stronger.
So much stronger,
and it'll make you better with people as well. Like if you're scared to go and talk to girls, go door knock, and then I guarantee you will have no problem talking to like any girl, because you just realize she's just another person.
Yeah,
and that's what it is at the end of the day. And these are just people. They're people with problems, and you're going there and you're going to try to help them with their problem.
And if they don't want your help,
they'll let you know.
Move on
to the next one. There's so many opportunities out there. You can't get caught up in the one person being an a-hole to you, because it's going to happen. It happens to me once a week. I mean, at least. Sometimes once a day.
How soon into how soon into the process did you learn that lesson?
First weekend.
Okay.
So when I was my first week, back in February, I knocked on 30 doors on Friday, and then on Saturday I knocked on another 25, and zero deals came from that. Zero. And that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was like, I thought, like I had 30 deals on my calendar. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like 3 deals today. Nothing. So
got that slice of humble pie.
Humble pie, exactly. Yep, and that's it's what I needed because I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm gonna kill this game, but it's not easy. But that was just more for a person like me, and I'm sure others out there. That was just like, all right, let's go. Come on, like bring it on. I'm ready to go. Like because then the next day, I was out to Sunday. I was discouraged. I was very discouraged. Talking to my mom, like, oh, I don't know. You know, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you know, just keep trying, honey. Just keep trying. I love my mom. Great lady. But you know, Monday comes. I'm like back in the office, and I'm like, all right, let's dig in. Let's go. Here we go. And I started calling, just figuring it out, just sifting through all of it, trying to learn more and more and more. I was in there every single day. First one in the office, last one to leave. Every single day, going to door knocking like 3-4 days a week. Like I was on it, man. I was, you know, and that's how I got into the place where I'm at now. I'm gonna tell a story about one of my deals because it's a great story. So, and this is like I think a lot of people could learn from this. So, the first weekend when I door knocked, I actually pulled up to this house and it was vacant and abandoned. And I was like, I don't know, what does that mean? And like my ignorance, I was like, oh, okay, whatever, I don't care about it, neglect it. So. About a month later, I circled back to the folder I had created for this property. I'm like, okay, let me do some more research on this. Let's see what's going on. It was vacant. And then that's when I realized that vacant is actually very high value. If it's a pre-foreclosure and it's vacant, that is a deal.
Waiting to happen.
Waiting. It's just waiting for you to put it all together, put all the pieces together, find the right people and put it together. So I'm like, okay, I did some research, went into Hover.Hill's clerk, like the court filings, and I found out the lady who owned it. And I saw that they served her at an apartment complex up in North Tampa. So I was like, okay, so she's not at the house anymore. That's weird. So I went up to the apartment and I went and knocked on the door, and the door was open when I pulled up. And I was like, hey, do you happen to be blah, blah, blah? And she's like, yeah, that's me. How you doing? I'm like, good. About your property you own over on, blah, blah, blah. I noticed it was vacant. Like, you looking to sell that property? And she was like, no, we gave it back to the bank. And I was like, oh, when you say you gave it back to the bank, what do you mean by that? And she's like, we just said we didn't want it anymore. We said the bank could have it. And I was like, it was an older lady, and she was a little confused, and she was starting to get a little worried. I could tell because like, I think she might have thought I was like from the bank or something. She was just a little confused. So I was like, hey, do you mind, could we call your son up and see if, could we talk to your son and see what he thinks about it? So she calls her son. I talked to him and I'm like, hey man, we can help you guys sell this property. Like, we can, like, we'll buy it from you. We'll sell it. Like, what do you want to do with it? He's like, yeah, there's a reverse mortgage on it. And he said, and have you seen the house? I'm like, no, what's wrong with it? And he's like, well, the whole center of the house is collapsed. So I'm like, oh man, damn, okay. So we go and we look at the property, me and Eddie, and we're like, I don't know, this neighborhood, like, I think it's still worth some money no matter what. But because of the way the house was, the reverse mortgage, we were going to do a short sale on it because the house is, it's going to get appraised for dog because that's what it's worth. It's dog. Yeah. I mean, it's basically an appraiser might call it a demo. You know what I mean? So we go and fix that. We go and we're like, all right, man. We'll give you guys $20,000. Sign this quitclaim deed over to us. And he's like, $20,000. I was like, hell yeah, man. All right, cool. So we gave him $20,000. Quitclaim deed. We took it over, and then we did a short sale. The short sale came in at 140, 95%, 133. My company is closing on the property on July 21st. On July 21st, we are also closing for $205,000 from the market. Because on a short sale, you list the property. So we listed the property for sale, and the best offer we got was we offered him $100,000. $100,000 was the best we could do, bank. That's the best we got. And the bank was like, okay. They sent an appraiser out. Said, all right, we'll do 133. We got that 133. Boom, boom, boom. There's no hold on this short sale either. So we're gonna close the same day. We're gonna do a double closing. And me and Eddie are gonna be splitting about $205 minus closing costs. Me and Eddie are probably gonna be both taking home about 25K
Each. Nice.
Nice.
Where are you guys finding these sellers? I mean these buyers.
Well, this one was easy. Put it on the market.
Okay.
So
like right on Zillow or like,
exactly. So that was no one. The first one though, it's pretty easy right now in Tampa to find cash buyers.
yes.
Right. So we just, people were calling about properties in the office, and every time like they would call, we would just tell them, hey, we got a deal for you. We got this deal for you, and then eventually we got one guy who was like, oh yeah, I like it. We got a price that we thought was fair, and we got our assignment fee. It was actually the assignment fee was like 25, by the way, because me and Eddie split it. So, and that's also like people are probably like, oh, why did you split it with him? Well, like I said earlier, due to the knowledge that I've gotten from him and him giving me the resources to be in his office and to learn and to be with him, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. He's been such a great guy to me. It's like you have to, I think your first few deals, like if you can partner up with a mentor or partner up with a friend and do, in joint venture, like that's how you should do your first few deals, to learn.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Don't be so caught up in the money.
Right.
Get caught up in the knowledge.
Right.
And experience. That's because that's going to pay you dividends.
Exactly.
In like 5 years down the line.
Right.
That 20 grand, that's going to be gone.
Right.
That's going to be spent on whatever. That's going to be in a bank account.
It's gone in
whatever.
2 or 3 months. Yeah. Yeah, and
but that knowledge, that's with you forever.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. And dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah.
We're moving pretty fast here.
Nah, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on. Like, this is like super. I learned a whole lot from you. Like, I thought I understood wholesaling. I'm like, no, there's deeper layers to this, because I studied it myself too, but I decided it's not for me. There's other entrepreneurial ventures I would rather do.
Yeah.
But
another thing is like another thing people are like, well, I want to buy a rental property, but I can't. Like, I'm too young. I don't have good credit. Well,
no, you're not.
Have you ever heard of seller financing?
Yeah.
And like there's so many different ways, and it's also like if you find a deal like a foreclosure, and if you create an equity spread, and then you come in with an investor loan, because an investor loan can go to anybody, right? And you use that investor loan to pay off. You might even be able to walk away with cash in your pocket. It's called a simultaneous closing. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but I mean, Eddie used to do that all the time. Back in 2003 to 2005, when the market was running like it's running right now, he was doing that every single day. What he was doing is they were finding deals, and every time they found a deal, they would lock it up for 10, 20 grand. But then, the bank would say, oh no, it's worth a home. You could say to the bank would give you a mortgage for 200 grand. So they would you could walk away with $100,000 a day you buy a property. Like they were doing crazy stuff like that. And then that's when they kind of put some lending laws in place and changed things up a little bit. But
2006 was a little bit Wild West. So
with lending, for sure.
Sorry, I started kicking something. Was that your foot? No. All right. Perfect. So many questions I want to ask, but I'm also like running out of time and battery power on the cameras.
How much time you got left?
I usually go to about like 1:30. It's usually when I have to start dialing it down.
All right, we'll stop at like 1:20.
Well, it's also like because I'm just gonna keep moving forward.
Okay.
Right, so the next question, it's towards the end anyway. So
cool.
Like, so what's next for you then, Jackson? Like, I know we kind of touched on like what you want to do next, but what's in store for you? What's going on next?
I definitely think building a software that can have leads just right there. You know what I mean? And just whatever I gotta pay for that, I'll pay for it, because I really do want to build it, and I want to have it in like all the markets of Florida, and then like go to like Connecticut and have it built and build up software in Connecticut, where it's like, and then other markets that I find interesting. And I want to build that software, and then eventually I want to have people like my friend Ryan. Ryan's like one of the best people that I know. Like, he just connects with people really well.
Warm guy.
The best guy. Love him. I want him to be like my A1 caller. Like, I want him, like I'll pay him $30 an hour, or I'll pay him, I don't even know what. I'll figure that out. I haven't figured that out yet. But I want to pay him to. He be the dialer all day, and then we find 5 other Ryans, and we find 10 other Ryans, and we find 20 other Ryans, and then, like you said, you know, eventually you kind of hit that cap of like, how many people are we paying to really, like, is it really worth it? So then figuring out that sweet spot number, maybe 10 dialers, and just doing deals, and I'm just going. All I'm doing is appointments, and I set up a system where it's just appointments, and then I can transition my focus to building a course and teaching people how to do this, and you know. And mentorship, doing a mentorship, like imagine that, a 19-year-old mentoring like a people.
I've seen crazier things.
True, and I think it's probably what's going to end up happening. So
it's actually not even that crazy, because at the end of the day, like, if we take away your age, what do you have?
A lot of knowledge and
what's more important,
right?
You know.
Yeah, no, I've really become just a student of this, and I think that. I feel like I know a lot more than like a majority of people who are in this industry, as crazy as that is. The majority of people who are in real estate, I think I probably. I kind of have a knack for picking stuff up, you know. So I was blessed with that, you know.
All right, man. What books are you reading right now? I know you're a reader.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's this one book my friend sent me that I've been really like loving. He sent it from Amazon. It's just a sales book, and it's really just all about. It's just like I forget the guy who wrote it. What's his name?
Jordan Belfort?
No, but I have read his book, and his book is good.
Way of the Wolf?
Yeah.
That's the best book on sales.
Yeah, dude.
Or none.
I love like sometimes like when I'm just like sometimes like I don't know, I get into like a little bit of brain fog where like I've just been working and it's like, all right, I need a break. So I'll just put on a YouTube video and Jordan Belfort, like sales tactics. Oh, that gets me fired up and gets me right back into it. You know what I mean? But no, this book is about sales, and it's I can't remember the name of it right now for some reason, but it's just a sales book, and it's really good. I like it. It's giving me some good tips about, you know, like connecting with people and like how to talk to people and how to hook people, and figuring that out in the wholesale thing is like definitely important. Like how to hook people, because you know you may not want to say right away, like you got to look at their situation. That's another thing too, is like not every situation is the same, and that's kind of why I want to build my software to be different. I want my software to be able to analyze like what's the pressure point. Like if they live in the house and it's a foreclosure, and you call them and say, hello, are you interested in selling? They're gonna hang up on you just like they hang up on everybody else.
No, because they want to stay living in the house. They don't want to get rid of it.
So if you call them and say, hey, I just wanted to call you today and talk to you about all the options you have, in coming up with a solution to the foreclosure, and
now you've got my attention.
Right. So and that's how I've gotten some people to listen to me and talk to me, and that's like some of the new deals that I'm like going after is people that I'm in conversation with, like figuring out a way to like help keep them in their property, because it'll eventually turn into a deal. Some way, somehow, it'll turn into a deal. I don't know how, but putting that value out in the world, it'll come back, and it'll come back in your favor. So, just telling people all their options and telling people like how we can help them, and just training my if I could eventually then train people to be able to do that as well, that'd be cool.
You ever had a time where you're like, I'm not sure I can make this happen, before you started to make things happen?
Wait, say that again?
You ever have like a time where you said to yourself, I'm not sure I can make this happen, or like you just start to doubt, like dark times?
Oh, dude, yeah, of course.
Because you're like this huge like explosion of positive energy right now, and I want to make sure people are really aware, like, hey, entrepreneurship is not all Porsches and Lambos and fancy houses.
It's
gritty.
It's also not that. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur because you want a Lambo,
no,
you're in it for the wrong reasons.
100%.
You're in it for the wrong reasons. So, yeah, dude, I have some very dark times. There's times where I like, and it's, dude, I'm self-conscious just like everybody else. Like I'm tall, whatever, like happy-go-lucky kid. Dude, there's times where I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, dude, what the like I hate myself. Like I actually hate myself. Like, and I think everybody has that. And it's about being able to know that everybody has that. Mm-hmm. People, like, that's the problem with social media. Social media makes people like think that like there's so many people out there that are whipping around the Lambo, I'm that guy. But at the same time, is it really that fulfilling? And
you rented that Lambo off of Toro.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Nah, dude. I mean, it's it's definitely important to know that with all the great times, there's a lot of dark times as well, and how you bounce back from those dark times and how you handle those dark times is who you are. That's what defines you as a person. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna fall on hard times and everybody's gonna have self-doubt, but how you power through that is what will define you. And I always catch myself when I'm like, all right, I don't have time to really be down on myself. I gotta go be a billionaire. Like I gotta get there. So until I'm a billionaire, like I just gotta keep moving. You just put one foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward. That's my best advice to people that are down on themselves. And I know there's people with way worse situations than me, and I empathize for them. But you're the driver of your life, and you got to do something about it to change it. And only you is going to change that. So,
I mean, it's part of the human experience. Life doesn't go in a straight line. It's, oh my God, this is amazingly bad. Yeah. Yeah. And then, oh my God, I got amazing. Oh, what the hell again? So.
And yeah, life is like a climb. Do you know who Dan Bilzerian is?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
I've done a lot of research on him.
Dude, Dan Bilzerian's kind of a cool guy, right? I mean, but he said one thing one time that stuck with me. And he's like, life's about climbing the mountain. Like so many people think about, when I'm on top of the mountain, I'm on the top of the mountain, yeah. But really, life's about climbing the mountain. And when you climb the mountain isn't just do 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 do. It's do 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 do. Like it's up and down, up and down, up and just like when you climb Everest. Like Everest, you got to go up to base camp. You go base camp, camp 1, and then back to base camp, camp 2, back to base camp, camp 3, back to base, and then you go, right? And it's just like that. Like life's a climb, and it's really about that's what will define you. That's who you like, who you are as a person is how you climb that mountain and bounce back and stuff like that.
It's fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right. Is there anything you want to say before we close it out? Any final statements?
This is my first podcast ever, so this is cool. Like this is awesome. It was awesome to share it with you.
Message to the world. Oh, actually, here's something I like to ask people, especially with your mentality. And I feel like I already know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. Mm-hmm. If you could have any impact on the world, what kind of impact would you like to have?
Really, what I want to do is people who are in like situations where they're like less fortunate, is help to show them the possibilities and knowledge. Just because I came from a family of middle class, like I never had a day where I was hungry. My mom took care of me. Grew up with my mom, like greatest mom ever. But some people come from way worse situations. But even though you come from that way worse situation, there's a lot in this world and a lot of opportunity that you can be successful. And I just want to help, because the problem is that there's a lack of information. There's an information barrier. I want to help. I hope people will find me or find others, and they are exposed to that information, and then we can help them act on it. You know what I mean? And that's really what I want to do. Is I hope that one day I can change that. Another thing I hope I can do is get rid of people's social media addictions. But that's I feel like that one's harder than the first one. So
yeah.
All
right, man. Cool.
Dude, it was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Where can people find out more about you if they want to?
Nowhere.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hopefully soon. Hopefully I'll be back. I'll have socials back up soon. But for now, my name is Jackson Sullivan. My accounts will probably be Jay Sully or something, or Jackson Sullivan. But I don't have any accounts right now. And maybe you'll see me back one day.
One day. Look forward to it, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And that's a wrap.
Yes, sir.
So that was